Good morning, MoB Kaffeeklatsch. How is everyone doing? Welcome to episode 156. Let's see. You're gonna have to excuse me. I've been up since the wee hours of the morning, even though I didn't train. I've been up since early. Hello, everyone. Let's get to the comments. It's a little laggy today, but not too bad. DreamWorks taking its time. Hello, Chris Mendoza. Why does it do this? See who we have. Chris Chrisman. Hello, Connie. Hello, Paige. Audrey, good morning. Mary Beth, good morning. CW, good morning. Let's see what else we got. Joe, good morning. Afternoon. I'm going to say good morning, and you guys know I say good morning, but you guys apply to whatever time zone you're in. Let's see who else is here. I think I got everybody. Dolly, good morning. Dolly's here. Let's say it again. Dolly.
Good morning, everyone.
There you go. Sound is good. Excellent. How's everyone doing today? It's getting chilly now. This morning was 46 degrees. Like, winter's coming. Winter is coming. I had one reader bring up George R.R. Martin recently about how the books are never going to get finished. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I've never read a Song of Ice and Fire or a Song of Fire and Ice. I don't know what is it. Do you know what it is? A Song of Ice and Fire. I've never read it. I never read George R.R. But authors are the way they are. I don't know what to say. I felt bad for the reader because they were waiting for that book. And I said, you might end up waiting a long time. I'm at this point, I don't even know if he's going to finish it. So I don't know. Not because of anything health related or anything like that, or his age. It's just that something that I've kind of discovered is, and this is my own personal experience. Sometimes, especially in a series, if you're in a series and you pause the series for any reason, like what happened to me with Sepia Blue and Poor Blur and Stone and those stories, it's not that you lose the thread, it's almost like you lose momentum. And so A Song of Ice and Fire, from what I understand, the books are enormous, like 1,200 pages, I heard. I'm not sure. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I know it's like 500, 600. So it's like Harry Potter sized books. And so if you kind of stop at some point, it gets, I think for me, I would think it gets really hard to pick up the thread again, jump into the story again. But it's like, I think like Chris says, every author is different when it comes to long series. Robert Jordan passed away in the middle of the Wheel of Time, or at the end of the Wheel of Time, that Brandon Sanderson had to come in and finish it. So if you're going to write a long series, and this is, can't call it the pop black, but if you're going to write a long series, try to have the end somewhere at some point in the distant future, but have an ending for it and try to get to it, because most readers want a completed series. That being said, if you can make every story a standalone story, then they can all kind of fit together and work that way. But let me get to the shout outs and everything, because I don't want to just jump right into the show. Hello everyone, welcome. Anne, welcome. Anthony, welcome. Kitty Pierce, welcome. Don Bender, welcome. Okay, let me just do the shout outs real quick. Hello to everyone. I see a few YouTube. Hello everyone on YouTube. Thank you for being here. And if you're on YouTube, please don't forget to hit the like, the subscribe, the notification bell. It really helps our standing in YouTube and helps us get to more people. And we're on YouTube at support at Ben Peaches Publishing. There we go. Brain is firing on all 3 cylinders. Okay, so we're at Ben Peaches Publishing on YouTube. Also on Instagram, we're at Ben Peaches. I haven't put anything on Instagram on the book side, but definitely on the personal side, I've been putting stuff up because I've been training and I got my sandbag, which is kicking my behind, and so I've been putting stuff up like that. Let's see. Oh, we've got links. Hold on. I see a link coming up. I'll put up a link. Here we go. Let's see how StreamYard behaves. Ready? How long will this take? Can I click it? Is it there? Is it coming? Is it on its way? Show. Instagram is acting cranky today. Not surprising, but it's smooth. It's just doesn't feel like putting things up. Okay, so there it is. There's one. There's Instagram. That's our Instagram link. I still like your picture. That's our Instagram link. And on YouTube, this is our YouTube link. I'm going quickly through these because these are all going to be up. They're up in the mob. So if you can't see them, just go to the mob. You'll find all the links there. Thanks, Chris, for the Instagram link. Dolly came in and she's stealthed in. It's good. And please tell everyone about our YouTube page and our Instagram page and every other page. Okay, let me see what Anthony said. Anthony GR, maybe saying the greatest troll of a cliffhanger. Yeah, I think he started another project too in the same world, but a different project related to the one that he's doing. I think there's another series too. I'm not sure. Let me just remove this. Also, his page. Martin got distracted with the HBO series and other stuff and just came out. Yeah, Song of Ice and Fire. HBO finished it for him, so now but see the problem with that is it's kind of like it's one of the reasons why as an author or as a creative, you try not to share too much of the work that you're doing, like giving it away too much in the sense of not giving it away, but like revealing too much of it. Because somehow, and maybe this is just me, but somehow your brain kind of takes that action of revealing it and then thinking, oh, it's already done because you already revealed it in a way. You already spoke about it, you already shared, whatever the case may be. And what happens is that after you do that, like in Martin's case, the HBO show went way past what he had written. And so it could be like part of his brain is like, well, the story's done because HBO finished it, even though from what I understand, I didn't watch the show either. I haven't read the books or watched the show. I heard the ending wasn't a fan favorite, but in his head, he might think, well, it's done. The show is finished. The story is done. And if his head thinks the story is done, it's really hard to kind of gear up and get to kind of like getting back into that world to write. That's just my opinion. I don't know if it's every author has that or every creative has that, but I know that if you share too much of the work that you're working on, it gets harder to kind of put it out there. Let's see. Did I miss Connie? Hello, Connie. Welcome. And hello, Heather. Welcome. All right. So we're on. Don't forget to go on Zazzle. I'm doing shout outs. So I'm speaking in between the shout outs. On Zazzle, we're at M&S, EMANDES. That's our store, our swag store. This is Zazzle Swag, as you can see. And this is Zazzle Swag. This is an awesome Zazzle shirt, you know? Yeah, Calvin. Yeah, Outlander was a series too. They're ending the series with the last book. Right, so that's kind of the way it should be done. Who else did that recently? Not recently, but Charlene Harris with the True Blood? I saw one episode of True Blood. I read the books, the True Blood books, and the series stayed really close. The Sookie was it Sookie Stackhouse or something? Remember? But the True Blood series was pretty good. The casting was excellent. All right, let me put up Zaz's link. Thank you, Dolly. Let's see. Yeah, Anthony's like, GR, I'm elderly, I'm rich, and the world is hanging on every word. Goals achieved. That's the issue. I think I saw an interview or like a roundtable discussion where he was asking Stephen King, how do you sit down and write your stories? And it's like, just sit down and write, And it's easy to say that. So I'm not trying to diminish the difficulty in writing because writing is hard. Suki Stackhouse. Yes, thank you, Chris. It's writing is hard. Writing is work. Anyone who tells you different, trying to sell you something. Um, Writing is work. That being said, and I've said this before, and I'll stand by it. When you're a writer, you're entering into a contract with your readers. It might be an unspoken one, but it's there nevertheless. And the contract is if you read my stories, I'm going to give you endings. At least, it's, especially when it's a long series, you have to give a lot of like endings in each book. Even though the series itself continues, like I've tried to do with M&S, there are endings in each book, but the series as a whole continues. We can also write shorter stories and wrap those up and give endings. And so that's the unspoken contract of an author with a reader. In other creative endeavors like art and things like that, the contract is basically I'm going to create art and you are free to like or dislike it because art is subjective and writing is art. And so you have to just produce. This is who was it? I think it was Seth Godin who's like, ship, you got to get stuff out. And I'm not saying get into this habit as an author where you just write not very good books just to get books out. They take whatever they take. Whatever your process is, that's your process. Patrick Rothfuss is another one who's kind of guilty of like, when's the next book? But it takes whatever it takes, but get it done. Try to get it done because you have readers that are waiting for your story. Anthony says, yeah, but sometimes after you sell your IP to TV, things go really, really bad. Yeah. Yeah. Hashtag Dresden Files. That was a shame because that show, that IP has so much potential. The casting for Dresden was good, but the rest of the show was yikes. Oh yeah, Sword of Truth. I liked that. I have the series. I read the series. I saw I think half of one episode of the Sword of Truth. I immediately said, no, this is they didn't stick to the story. I don't know what happened there. That was a really good IP to work with. See, but that's the thing, Chris. Like Chris is saying, imagine a newspaper column writer who has to write and entertain, inform yeah. But a newspaper, a journalist doesn't have the luxury of saying, you know what, I'm not feeling it today, because the editor would kill him. Like, yeah, we have a deadline. Get this done, and you'll find it's been my experience that a lot of writers who come from the journalist world are very good about deadlines. Like they'll get a quota and they'll hit that quota and they'll get their books out. I try to be that way. I try to make sure that my books get out on a timely basis, especially when I'm the one who kind of determines that. Traditional publishing is a little harder because publishing houses have schedules and they plan out the year and they have parts of the year that they can say, okay, we can only release this many books at this time. And so the writer kind of is constrained a bit. But even so, write the next story and have it ready so that it can go out. Yeah, Dresden animated would be a lot, I think, has a lot more potential, Heather, for sure. Marsters as Harry, I don't know. Marsters, the issue with Marsters, and this is just my pet peeve, when he narrates the Dresden books, his yikes, no. I can't, his voice doesn't, it jars my ear. What was it that we heard? Yeah, we heard a lot of breathing and salivating. And maybe it's a little from his Buffy years thing of, oh, he got better over time? Yeah. So he improved as a narrator, but yeah, no. Terry Goodkin was also a good series. I read those, yeah. Yeah, Sword of Truth, yeah. But I'm not mistaken, Terry Goodkin passed away. So I don't know what they're doing with his IP after Sword of Truth. The Terry Brooks series wasn't, and I really like the Shannara, the Sword of Shannara and all that. I really like Terry Brooks, and again, the series was I'm gonna say lackluster to be kind. How's that? Because hey, Darren, welcome. Yeah, because again, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's whoever's in charge of that. Whoever's in charge of taking the book from the medium of books to a visual medium. You gotta okay. I'll give you the classic example. What that happened recently. the Witcher series. They took a fantastic concept, one that had already been fleshed out in books. I read one Witcher book, which is excellent. I played the Wild Hunt the game, which is fantastic. And then when they made it a series on Netflix, the first 3 episodes, or I think it's the first seasons, the first 3 seasons, the first season was passable. The second season, which was supposed to be this whole thing is about The Witcher. All of a sudden, The Witcher was no longer really the center of the story. It was basically The Witcher. He's kind of in the back. We're gonna focus on Yennefer and Ciri, and yeah, there's this guy called The Witcher. He's in the back there somewhere. Like what? What happened? So, and I think they canceled it. I'm not sure, but I think they canceled it. And I'm gonna be with Joe. I really found a series that was as good as the books. Now, movies is a whole different story. Um, I'm gonna give Peter Jackson the kudos for working with something so difficult as the Lord of the Rings and making it fairly close and pretty good compared to the books. You know? Yeah. The Witcher. I heard season 4 was horrendous. After season 1, it was like, okay, I can live with this. Season 2, it started going downhill. Season 3, I was like, this is not going well, and that's when Henry Cavill left after season 3 because he was like, you're not sticking close to the source material. You're not. The Witcher would never do these things, and he was like a fan guy. He was like really into The Witcher. He knew the lore, and so after he left, that's when The Witcher died. So, you know, yeah, he was really well versed in the book and the lore and the games. He's like a nerd, nerd slash geek. Like he's really into the lore of the story of the world. And I don't understand because Andrew Sapkowski was part of that project, but I don't think they even consulted him to uh, get ideas on how the episode should go. Which, if you have the books, just follow the books. I don't understand why you want to deviate from that. Anyway, this is what happens. Things to remember when our books become a series. When Monty Strong becomes a series, I want creative input. Okay, he says if you want to have your IP respected and present the paper, you have to be adamant that you executive produce. Yes, and maintain control. I completely agree, Paige. You want your IP respected. You don't want people messing with your characters or doing things that they would never do. Then you have to have creative input. The Sandman, I saw the first season. I haven't seen the second season, but the season that I saw, I never read the comics or the books, but I heard it was really good the first season. But also, that was excellent casting, which is a big deal. The same thing with Cavill. Cavill was excellent casting. Cavill, for most people, is The Witcher. When they replaced him with Liam, it was like, who? This is cosplay Witcher. Again, this is what I heard. This is not my opinion, but after season 2, I was kind of done with The Witcher. And they wanted to go to season 7, you know. Yeah, see, The Sandman was really well done. It really was. Same thing with the first season of Good Omens. Good Omens was a really good show. The first season. The second season, did they run out of material for the second season? It wasn't in the book anymore. It was just like their own creation. No, I think the second season was more them going past the book because I'm trying to remember. I think they wrapped up the first season. They wrapped up the book in the first season, and for the second season, it kind of went off the reservation, and that's when they got into trouble. You know. Let's see. Marie says, "Hello, Marie. Welcome. Welcome, Julianne. I used to dislike Henry Cavill. Then I watched The Witcher and thought he was a perfect cast for The Witcher. He was. I didn't really follow him in Superman, or he was good in the other roles too, like A Man from U.N.C.L.E. Some of like the offbeat roles. As Sherlock, he was excellent. Nola Holmes, he played Sherlock Holmes, excellent. So his offbeat roles, he's really good, but he was perfect for The Witcher. You know. Julianne says, "Rolling Florida." I think I pop in. You're talking about Gerald, and my husband went to the comic Witcher for Halloween. Oh, yeah. I don't think they're gonna let him take a sword anywhere, Julianne. So, Planet of the Apes is anytime. Yeah, the movie was good. I still remember Charlton Heston. Oh, at the end, that was excellent, and I was really young at that part. Right, Audrey. Yeah, Good Omens. The first season was fantastic. The second season was a little meh. You know, 10 minutes of what, Marie? Of The Witcher? Yeah. So season 4's gotten panned. I think they canceled season 5. That's my understanding. And I guess this episode's going to be talking about book to film movie adaptations. That's the topic for this episode of the Kaffeeklatsch. But that's um, and it's not easy. I mean, if you've ever seen, I have this program called Fade In, which is a screenplay writing program. I haven't used it because I don't write screenplays. But I was thinking of adapting 2 Million Butterflies to a screenplay. So I said, okay, I need a program that would allow for that because it's not the same. It's not the same kind of writing. It's not a one-to-one way of writing. Um, 130 pages of a play, 1 minute equals to 1 page. So you figure 130 pages of a screenplay is an hour and a half of film time. But it's a whole different way of writing, and it's a whole different way of telling a story. So they don't directly translate. That being said, when you have an IP that has been fleshed out for you, let's say like something like The Witcher, or any of these IPs that are really well known, like HBO did with um, George R. R. Martin's work, which was so fleshed out that they were able to go beyond the books. But when you have something like that, and like Paige said, you have to executive produce. You have to be the one in control of the direction of the story, or else someone's going to come in and say, "I can do this better than who created it. I'm going to put my own personal spin." I'll give you a perfect example of that. Rings of Power. Rings of Power. Dolly knows. She doesn't even mention the words Rings of Power. Those 3 words are never mentioned in that order in this house because we saw the first season. Did we see the whole season? We saw the first season. I don't think I can ever recover from that first season. It was that bad. That bad. Also, Witcher 5 has been made and scheduled for release next year. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. Good morning, Wendy. Welcome. Yeah, Chris, it's like I said, there's so much to choose from. You know, you, you're spoiled for choice in a way. Like Sherlock Holmes, yeah, Sherlock Holmes has been done so many times in so many ways over the years, and they still haven't run out of ways to reinterpret Sherlock. So far, for me, the best is Benedict Cucumber guy with as Sherlock. He was really good, but I mean, I grew up with the Basil black and white Sherlock Holmes, and then there was one with Lily Liu who was Watson. There was that one, Elementary. There were a few Sherlocks that I kind of grew up. What is Kitty saying sucks? What sucks, Kitty? Yeah, so this is so many things. So you have to. It's hard, I think, as an author, if you're going to. I mean, it's great if you can have your work optioned and turned into a film or a series or an animated series, but you have to retain, again, like Paige said, you have to retain some executive controls, executive produce, because if you don't, someone's gonna say, "I can do this better than the creator." It never fails, and this is why all these IPs have had. I mean, they've crashed and burned. Witcher just being the latest, but they did Blood Omens and they did a whole bunch of stuff in the Witcher universe that was like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why? You know? I love how Prime presented the magic scenes despite the variation from the books and stuff. I just didn't like Rings of Power, period. And I didn't like the fact that, and that's not me being a purist. I sat through the whole season and I grumbled the whole season because I've read the books, the series many times, including the Silmarillion. And I'm looking at them going, what? Did you guys not read the books? Are we not going to read the source material at all these days? Like, what's happening? And so it didn't work. And you know how that was reflected in people panning it. And they still made a season 2. I don't know why, but yeah. Yeah, Kitty, I agree. It sucked. Chris says Hollywood does not want. You know why they don't want authors on their own projects, and this is why they still. I could tell you they still haven't learned this Because when Henry Cavill, even though Andrew Sapkowski was there, right, and Andrew Sapkowski had met with Henry Cavill, and Henry Cavill was like, "Oh, you guys are awesome. We're going to stick to the lore. We're going to stick to the source material." When Henry Cavill started calling the Netflix people, Hitchwitch, and the people on deviating from the source material, they got upset. But they had hired writers who hated the source material, and that's what I'm thinking. That's not a very smart move if you want to have this thing become the next, George R. Martin for Netflix. The next House of Dragons or whatever the case may be. So Cavill would say, this doesn't make any sense. This isn't what the character would do," and the executive producer would be like, "Just do it." He's like, "No, I'm not just gonna do it. It's wrong. This doesn't work." When Cavill left, everyone left the show because he was so properly cast, and yet the fans, the watchers, the readers, the people who play the games, they all revolted and said, "Nope, if Henry Cavill's not Geralt, we're not doing The Witcher." And they thought, this will blow over. People are they'll get past it. We'll have a conversation with Liam Hemsworth about that and see how he feels if people have gotten past it. Dragon Reborn. Which series? What's that from? Dragon Reborn, Wendy. It does sound familiar. That's why I'm asking. So yeah, so that's what's happening. All right. I don't want to get into rant. It's my personal pet peeve when film executives and Hollywood and streaming services take stories and mangle them. That's because I'm coming from the point of view of as a creator and author. Yeah, I mean, if they had gotten CD Projekt Red involved, it would have made a difference because CD Projekt Red did a fantastic job with the Witcher games, or even Sapkowski himself. Just get him on board and have him be as a creative consultant. You got the source, the guy who created the world right there. You just ask him a question. Would the character do this? How would he react to this? It's that simple. I haven't read Lonesome Dove. I'll have to look into it. I've heard of it. I have heard of it, Kitty, but I've never read it. So it'll be interesting. Let's see. Maria saying, "My guess is that modern film creativity is light years away from what it was last millennium, or rather creative license." Yeah, I mean, think about the things that if you're less young like me, you have some gray. Some of the stories that we grew up with, I don't, a lot of a lot of what's happening now is that studios are depending on stuff that happened in the past. Everything is kind of a reboot, or they kind of try to bring it for a new generation. But the originality seems to have been somewhat lost. Oh, Wheel of Time. Okay. Yeah, I didn't watch Wheel of Time. I didn't read Wheel of Time, so I'm not very familiar. I mean, I know the story behind the Wheel of Time, only because I was in a forum where Brandon was there. He was called to finish the book because Robert Jordan had passed away. And so they tapped Brandon to finish the series, which I've always been of the opinion that's almost impossible to do, because if an author doesn't finish a series, it's nearly impossible to have another author come in and finish it. From what I understand, Brandon did a great job finishing it, but it's never going to be the same as if Robert Jordan finished it. Now, I know they made a show out of Wheel of Time, but I didn't watch it because I didn't read the books. But I hear the show was good. But again, it's that secondhand information. I didn't watch Wheel of Time. I saw the casting was interesting. I think I saw part of an episode. I think I saw like a little trailer, and it looked interesting. The magic looked interesting, but I was like, really called to me. So I was like, oh, Lonesome Dove has a sequel. Okay. Again, I'll have to look into it. It's hard to change Monty and Simon. And I'll tell you why, Don. Because Monty and Simon operates on a buddy cop dynamic, where if I'll give you the perfect example, I guess a good example. in like Lethal Weapon. The Lethal Weapon movies, they were they changed from one. I think they did four of them, but the actors were the same. You had Danny Glover and Mel Gibson, and the dynamic between the characters remained the same. It's hard to change buddy cop type dynamics because it's what makes the story work. And if you change that, you kind of break the story. And so that's why you rarely see buddy cop type movies radically altered. Like you don't want to change you don't want to change the actors and you don't want to change the story dynamic. That's why. What does that have to say? Well, Paige said Wheel of Time sucked. I'll take your opinion for it, Paige. I never watched it. Good morning, Elise. Welcome. Okay, wait. Chris says True Grit. The second movie was very close to the book. Oh, okay. I didn't watch the second movie. I watched the first one, but not the second. Um, Anthony says studios are risk averse if a movie or series don't break a billion. Yeah, but come on, not very few movies have broken a billion since the Marvel movies, and after Marvel, very few things have gotten close to a billion. These are millions, like many millions, multi millions, but those days of billions, I think, are done with Marvel Infinity Endgame, the Infinity Two, the two-parter. Um, Maybe in the next phase of the Marvel universe, of the DC Marvel universe, I'm sorry, the extended Marvel universe, MCU with Doctor Doom and Robert Downey Jr. being Doctor Doom. Maybe that'll do it again, but I don't know if it's going to be infinity level billions. And a lot of people stop going to movie theaters. That's another thing. Movie theaters are going the way of Blockbuster. Okay, people are just hitting streaming services. They're not going to actual theaters as much. That's my opinion. I give 10 years before movie theaters are phased out. But that's my opinion. Yeah, you can't expect every movie to make a billion, but that's what studios, because it can be done and it has been done. They expect every movie to hit a billion, and it's not gonna work. The streets are layered. I'll have to look it up, Kitty. Definitely. Um, let's see. The Alien Predator Daisy chain was unusual. Ups and downs and total oopsies. Alien Predator has a weird kind of dynamic. I think it was born out of let's just smash these two things together and see what happens. And that's how the Alien Predator thing came out. Alien on its own was a fantastic story and movie, and when the first one came out, was incredibly successful and was a great movie. And obviously, since they made, I think, three more movies after Alien, but then they started getting into like Prometheus. What was that movie you saw? That was Alien. Was it Prometheus? Proteus, Prometheus, something like that. Yeah, Prometheus. I didn't see it, but what I saw from it was that good. It wasn't anything to write home about. Oh yeah, so yeah, Julian. I don't know. So what I don't know what the premise is. How to get Robert Downey Jr., who was Tony Stark, as Doctor Doom. I don't know how that works unless it's a what if movie. Like what if Tony Stark became Doctor Doom instead of Iron Man? I don't know how this works. I don't know what the premise is, but it's gonna have to be something like that. Anthony says, "Okay, time to sow chaos, my family." Oh, my family. What are the worst Hollywood choices for M&S movies? Tom Cruise and Simon. That come on, don't do that. Benedict Cumberbatch as Monty, yes. Kevin Hart as Peach. I think Kevin Hart did some superhero voice. I think he did Batman, Bat Dog, or something like that. Yeah. Okay, the first Alien movie, when the alien bursts from the chest. I hope I'm not spoiling that. There's no way this could be spoiling it for anyone. But that first bursting motion from the chest was insane. It was like the first time um, you saw that in the theater. It was like, what? It was crazy. No, we're not gonna sow chaos, Anthony. Tom Cruise as Simon. Ryan Reynolds as Simon. Benedict Cumberbatch as Monty. The voice of, geez, the voice would be interesting. We could probably get Kevin to do the voice, like Kevin Hart. I haven't seen the new Alien series though, So there's a lot of stuff that I'm not caught up on. Prometheus, and there's a new Alien movie, right? The one where they go to some place and there's an alien. It's always like it's always some deserted thing and there's an alien in there. And there's two people in there. So yeah. Connie says, I go to the movie theaters. I usually go on Mondays, Tuesdays, all day, $5. Yeah, if it's like a matinee like that, it's fantastic. Yeah. Jack Black as Peaches, no, because it'll be too comedic. So it would be too funny. It's like having Kevin Hart as Peaches. You wouldn't be able to get past his lines because you'd be laughing all the time. So we scroll down to the new comments. So yeah, you can't have a comedic answer. The voice that I had in mind for Peaches when I cast it for Kevin, who did the narrating, was Vinnie Jones from Lock, Stock, and Smoking Barrels. Although he had one line, I think, in the whole movie, which was at the end. But Vinnie Jones is a very well-known actor, and he has a very distinct voice, which is why if you hear Peaches in the audiobooks, he's supposed to sound like Vinnie Jones. All right, if you ever put TC in a I'm buying I'm buying a hatchet, and so no, Marie, don't do that. I would never do that. No. Jillian says I was watching Ghostbusters with an adult neighbor. She had turned away to talk to a child on her left. When she turned back, she screamed, grabbed the both of us, and we screamed. And the librarian turned to, oh, okay, yeah, that was a long time. Romulus, yes, Romulus is the latest Alien, the latest in the Alien franchise. I'm gonna tell you right now. Well, see, that's what it is, Paige. If you hide, everything is different when you hide. I'm gonna tell you right now, Alien is a franchise that will never die because the aside from the incredible work by H.R. Geiger, right? The actual concept of the alien is an idea that is evergreen. The whole idea, I mean, it goes back to like that invasion of the body snatchers type thing, right? But the whole idea of an alien gestating inside of you and then bursting out of your chest, and then not only does it burst out of your chest, that's as if that's not bad enough, but then it goes out and it goes on a rampage and it kills everything. And then if you slice it, its blood is acid. It's ridiculously impervious to damage. It has two mouths. So it has this whole thing coming out. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. So whoever designed the actual alien for the movie, I think they won an Academy Award for creature design. But if they didn't, they should retroact. Let's see. David Tennant. David Tennant's. I don't know if he can play a good Simon because Simon has to have an American accent, and David Tennant. I don't know if David Tennant can pull off an American accent. Alien versus Captain America. Yeah, like I said, Alien's never gonna go away. Alien's gonna be like Batman, 80 years old. Kids are gonna be 80 years from now. Kids are gonna be saying, "Did you see Alien 300? Oh my God, it was excellent." You know, it's gonna be around forever. There's certain characters and certain ideas that are just around forever. You know, like Superman and Batman, like these comic book heroes that are around generation. I mean, there are generations of families that grew up with Superman, that grew up with Batman. Although the last Superman I saw, I was kind of underwhelmed. You know. Yeah, exactly. The alien carries the. All right, so in the Alien movie, when you realize that it was the android that was carrying the alien, although the android was kind of like a cyborg, it was kind of both, right? But you don't know, and then all of a sudden, sitting there, and then it's like it's crazy. So that paranoia, like Paige, like you're saying, is what drives that whole body snatcher, the thing kind of thing. Like who's carrying the alien? And then you go to the planet and you see all those pods, and then the fact that the face huggers go in your face and put the egg inside of you. Oh, it's just creepy. It's crazy. Elise says H.R. Geiger is from the town in PA that I live in now. His artwork is in the town hall. That is amazing. Even though the alien movies were too scary for much. His artwork is incredible. H.R. Geiger's work he was a singular. I don't know if he's still alive, but he was a singular artist. That mind was so unique, and the art that he created, you couldn't mistake his art for anyone else. It was just like, this is H.R. Geiger. It was just so distinct, you know. We're laughing so hard at Resident Alien on Netflix. Aliens will never go. They would never go out of style. No, I hear Resident Alien is really funny, and the actor who plays the alien is really good. He was in Firefly. He was really good. Wait, Is aliens an allegory of team? No, I don't think so. Anthony. Paige says, I need to catch up on the new season. Alan Tudyk is as a comedic actor, he is hilarious. So you really should watch it. That scene from Spaceballs was the only one. Yeah, well, but Spaceballs, we can go on a whole tangent with like Mel Brooks and Spaceballs and Blazing Saddles and the humor of Mel Brooks, because he was also a unique character all unto himself. 6'7", no, it's not 6'7". Um, wish we could have another Wonder Woman movie. Yeah, but after the first one, I don't know what happened to Gal Gadot. I don't know. They tried to do like Wonder Woman 1984, which was a retro thing. I think I watched like 20 minutes of that, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. I couldn't. Like, time is too short for me to be watching movies I'm not going to enjoy. So, and yeah, I liked her in like the one where she was with Ryan Reynolds and The Rock, and was she in that one? I think she was. And they stole a jewel or something like this. And she was in another movie, but I didn't enjoy that much. But she was supposed to be like a spy. It was like, you know. Spaceballs is like another one of those classics, you know. This is one of those classic movies. If you watch Spaceballs, you will never forget Spaceballs. It's Dark Helmet and stuff like that. You won't forget Spaceballs at all, ever. It's like the perfect parody. When they made that, it was perfect when they made it. And the humor that's in there is pretty unique. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say it's unique. All right. Let me get to the rest of these shout outs. Patreon. We have new patrons. And we just jumped into the episode. We have new patrons. First, I want to thank all of you patrons. You guys are amazing and incredible, and our Patreon is growing every single day. It's incredible how amazing the growth is in our Patreon. It's like, wow, our Patreon is just growing by leaps and bounds. So the new patrons are Justin Odin, and I want to apologize if I mangle any names. Sarah Sylvia, John Lesher, Chris Flower, and Amy Bruno. Thank you so much for supporting the writing, the characters, the stories. It's amazing how our Patreon is growing, and please share the word, and please let people know that there are amazing stories on our Patreon, and that you can. I mean, I've been writing some stories for Patreon that I've been like, oh, wow, that was really good. So, yeah, definitely, please share, get the word out, guys. All right. And here is a link. Thank you, Holly. Young Frankenstein was I think it's still considered a film classic. Young Frankenstein. Um, Red Notice, yes, Paige, I liked it. I liked Red Notice. It was good. It didn't take itself seriously. It was what it was. It reminded me of Six Underground with Ryan Reynolds. Again, didn't take itself seriously. It was a lot of fun to watch. You kind of just disconnected and you enjoyed what you saw. It was really good. This is our link for our Patreon. Please join us if you haven't joined us. Let's see. Let's discuss some of the stuff that's happening. Updates, because wow, time it's 12:15, guys. Where is the time going? Nemesis is in the works. If you have any questions about Nemesis, you could ask. I may or may not have the answer. There's no need to apologize, at least first of all, because I believe The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was the last time Sean Connery was in the film, so that in itself makes it automatically awesome. Plus, Nemo's car and ship were awesome in that movie. I really loved the gadgets in that movie. And it was just a great collection of fantastic characters from stories and history, you know? So it was okay. It was never a blockbuster, but it became like kind of like an underground classic. But The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was I really enjoyed watching that. Yeah, listen, like Chris says, I love opening my email and saying a new Patreon stories. There are a lot of Patreon stories that are in the works, but you got to go to Patreon to read them. So I was gonna say to watch them, to read them. That's in the future. So please join our Patreon if you haven't already, and share the word so other people can join our Patreon and partake in the awesomeness of the stories. Let me hide this. Okay. Paige says it hasn't aged well. Some of the jokes are so old people today. Well, a lot of these movies, yeah, they're not like okay. Young Frankenstein, you're not gonna get the jokes because it's very old. And Blazing Saddles probably couldn't be made today because it would offend too many people. So yeah. What am I going to Simon through this time? Wow, Simon's gonna go through some serious major changes and pain this time. He's got a lot of unfinished work to take care of. So if you guys have questions for Nemesis, I can answer you. Like Nemesis, like Marie's asking, I can answer you. He's gonna go through pain, but that's Simon's usual thing. But yeah, it's rough. When he says, wait, Marie said when he says, I've been watching it on Netflix. Okay. Maybe. Young Frankenstein's a classic. Gene Wilder makes it. Yeah, Gene Wilder made that movie, and it was an amazing movie. And the fact that he went black and white with that movie was kind of inspired. I mean, you kind of had to. It was a Frankenstein movie, but it was a young Frankenstein movie. It was really well done. Who else is in that movie that people don't really know? Gene Hackman's in that movie. People don't really know Gene Hackman's in that movie. He has a really, really short cameo. Yeah, it was an inspired movie. A lot of people don't realize how much work it took to make Young Frankenstein, but it was really, really well done, and it holds up. It's just that the jokes don't really hold up anymore. But that's a lot of Mel Brooks stuff. It's unlike something like, let's say, The Princess Bride, where the jokes are self-contained within the story, so it's easy to kind of understand the jokes. And The Princess Bride is kind of timeless because it takes on the feel of a fairy tale. And fairy tales for us growing up is very much a timeless thing. Yeah, Terry Brooks, Marty Feldman stole that movie with those eyes. My God, I thought that was makeup. Yeah, Wilhelm, and then the hump would shift sides. It's like Wilhelm, and his eyes. I thought his eyes were because that was before CGI, right? So I'm thinking that's got to be some kind of weird. No, those are his eyes. His eyes are really. He really had those kind of bugged out eyes. It's crazy. And but that just made the movie unique, and it made the movie, the movie. So it's like this is a weird, crazy, awesome movie to watch. Yeah, if you have never seen Young Frankenstein, you should see it. All right, let me continue. Frozen Fire. Um, the book is available for pre-order on the website, right? It's available for pre-order on the website. Go pre-order it. It's at 99 cents. Yes, 99 cents. That's the MoB, because this is a wide book. This isn't a KU book. So when it goes live, it's going live at full price. But you can pre-order it now for 99 cents. So go get it for 99 cents. Okay? I don't want you guys to miss out. Let's see. M&S 30. I want to kind of say the title, but I'm gonna wait. But M&S 30, so the production schedule has shifted again because the production schedules do that, right? Let me put this up because thank you, Dolly. There's a link for Frozen Fire. M&S 30 is going to come out right after M&S 29, which is Nemesis. So right after Nemesis, the next M&S book is coming out. I want to kind of get them out sequentially right now because 30 ties a little bit into 29. So that's what's going to happen. Divine Hell and Cold Girl come after that. And to answer Don's question, and Morgan's, man, what is Monty doing while Simon is busy? Monty's doing his own thing. I can't get too much into it because it starts to get shown in later Morgan's man stories. But understand that Simon's forays into being the Morgan's man are outside of time. So not much time passes as he is doing what he's doing, even though a lot of time passes for him, but he's kind of moving interstitially between time. So he's not really affected by time because of how he is because of his state as deathless. So yes. Here are books 1 and 2. Oh, that's not it. The chat is moving so fast. I missed the link for books 1 and 2. It really is, Connie. Yeah. Okay, we put Marie's comment up, and then we put 1 and 2. There we go. If you have cable, it's on Sci-Fi. Oh my God, Sci-Fi! I remember when I used to watch Sci-Fi. You can watch it on demand. Otherwise, the newest season is also on Sci-Fi. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but sure. And all the original Monster Lab. Yeah, it was amazing when they made that movie. Darren Musson said, I'm only on Archmage about 7 books. Oh, you're almost there. Archmage is what? Book 20. So you're only 30 books behind, 10 books behind. It's not bad. Take care, Jillian. Thanks so much for being here. Enjoy. Have a great weekend. I will definitely keep it up for sure. Let's see. Something's covering the last part here. Oh my God, I gotta get to the questions. Okay, I'm gonna get to the questions right now. Simon is outside. Yeah, as deathless, Simon is outside normal time. So there's not much time passing for Monty and everyone else. It's just he has to do these things as deathless, and time is not a factor for him. That was part of the deal of him becoming deathless and doing these things for the Morgan. So I hope that answers your question, Dawn. Okay, let me get to the questions. All right. I'm moving over here. So if you see me looking over here, it's because the questions in another window. Okay, Audrey, she's keeping that question streak going. Wow. Which of your books is closest to your heart? Guys, that's like asking which one is my favorite child. Jeez. Um. Wow. That's really that's really a hard question, Audrey. That's a great question, and it's a hard question. I'm gonna go. Okay, here's how I'm gonna do this. Um, the first book that's close to my heart is The Spiritual Warriors because it was the first one, right? Let me hide this. Hold on. The Spiritual Warriors was my first book that was out published, so that's really close to heart because that kind of started everything. Um, Two Mirrors and Butterflies because it kind of launched Monty and Strong, and that book is always fun to read. And then every Night Warden book, of which there are only three, but because those books are closest to me in terms of the storytelling. Joe, take care. Have a great weekend. Dolly, don't work too hard, Joe says. Bye, Joe. Get some rest. Okay, so that would be the order. The Spiritual Warriors, and Two Mirrors and Butterflies, and every Night Warden book. Those are the books that are closest to my heart. All the other books are really close too because I really enjoy reading them. But those would be the ones, you know. Okay. Do I ever dream of my stories? I dreamt Two Mirrors and Butterflies. Came to me in a dream. The initial, I want to say the initial idea of Two Mirrors and Butterflies. Like when I woke up, Monty and Simon were fully formed. What they were doing was fully formed. Where they were, the first story, all of it was fully formed. The from after the dream, I was just able to write it down, get it all down. And that's why I interrupted Sepia Blue to start writing Monty and Strong because it just came to me like that. Write this now. So Raven's Lair. Oh, that's okay. You can be behind the assignments. They're still there. Just read them. Enjoy. I'm sorry you've been under the weather. I hope you're feeling better. Thank you for being here today. Glad you made it. Anthony says, Author Sensei, will the series end with Simon staring at a snow globe and having the entire thing be a mental construct like Callie to punish him? No, we do not do that. That's so bad. That's like saying it was all a dream. It's horrible. Marie, take care. Have a great weekend. Yes, and you're close to our heart too. So have a great weekend. Thank you for being here, Marie. Okay, Audrey's next question. So to answer your question, yes, Audrey, I do dream of stories for sure. I think if you're an author or a creative, it doesn't have to be an author, any creative, if you're connected to your creativity, you get ideas and concepts everywhere, anywhere, and anytime. So whether you're awake, whether you're asleep, you'll get ideas. I was driving the other day, and I got an idea for a sci-fi story. I just got the characters' names, but the characters' names are awesome, and from there I can do the whole story. This is what happened. And I was driving, so it's not like I'm thinking about I gotta have a story. No, it's just I'm driving, and that's how the Patreon stories come at me too. The other Patreon story that I wrote recently, the one called The Rabbit, that is a lot of fun, and that one just came to me like boom, 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 like weird. It's just so that's how it happens, you know. I Fighting a Migraine. I know my sister gets them; they're really bad. So I hope you're winning that fight on the migraine front. Audrey, what old movie from the past do you still watch? There are quite a few that if I know they're on, I'm gonna watch them. Casablanca, I love. There's so many. That's a long long list because that's the era I grew up in watching old movies. I'll watch every Fred Astaire movie just because I love to watch him dance. Um, I was a very strange child when it came to movies and my taste in movies, and I'll watch anything pretty much. So, yeah, uh, any old movie I'll enjoy. There are a lot of old movies that I enjoy. Everything with Humphrey Bogart in it, I watch. There's so many old movies that are in my catalog in my head. We could have a whole episode, a Cafe Crunch episode of old movies we love, and then we could just spend the whole time just talking about old movies. It's amazing. Okay, let's continue. Anthony has a question. Every character has different masks that they present to their friend as opposed to their enemy. What non-primary characters' masks we've seen that hide something alluded to but missed? Non-primary characters that have masks would be any non-primary character in M&S has a mask. So you just gotta look past the mask or look at the mask, and it starts telling you a little bit more about the character. Non-M&S, but tangential to M&S, you've got to look like at Iker, you got to look at Byako, you got to look at all the side characters, even Sabine. All those characters have masks that hide something, but you might have missed it. It's in the story because I always try to layer these things into the story. So every character, every side character, because in my stories, every character, even the side characters, have the potential to be the main character. So every character has a side of them that's there, and if you really look into the story, you'll see what it is. It's usually behind a mask. So every character. So I would say not just the side characters or non-primary characters, every character, and it should. Again, my opinion. So take it with a grain of salt. My opinion is that every character should have something that they're hiding, some agenda of some sort. I know there's a famous author who said every character should want something, even if it's just a glass of water. I don't know who said it. I know it's a famous quote. I just don't remember it. Let's continue. Joe Durham says, if Peaches were to pick a peach, how many peaches could Peaches pick if Peaches could pick a peach? That's a great little tongue twister, Joe. I'm going to make sure I say it to you every chance I get. Chris says, brew and chew. It was fun reading from Peaches' point of view. Was it hard or easy? And what made you decide to make Peaches the writer? Okay, so Hellhound Blues, which is the first of the Brew and Chew Crew stories, I hadn't really showcased Peaches. And I wanted to write a story from Peaches' point of view, right? But I didn't want to write it I didn't want to make it so dumbed down, like so simple, because Peaches is a very intelligent creature, being. But I wanted to write it so that you could kind of get that it's Peaches. It was hard. It's still hard. Even writing Brew and Chew was hard in the sense of writing a story as Peaches. You have to kind of understand the conventions of how Peaches refers to people. Like when he refers to Cece as the cold girl, and you realize that in the Morgan's Man, that's not the case. He doesn't speak that way. It's different. But in the Brew and Chew series, he has to speak that way because he's actually dumbing down his speech so that the people around him can understand. It's not that he's an intelligent. It's that he is so intelligent. He has to bring his speech down so that all the people around him can understand. It's amazing. So it was fun. I wanted to showcase Peaches. That's why I decided to make Peaches the writer. And it was fun, but it was hard. That one was hard. The Brew and Chew stories are hard to write only because I kind of have to approach it from how Peaches would see. It's how Peaches would see the world, and how Peaches sees these characters, and how Peaches interacts with them, and how he has to deal with this unspoken, unanswered love for Rags. And I can't make it too over the top. And who says I don't write romance? I can't make it too over the top because he still has to function as a kick-ass hellhound, but he also has to kind of melt every time he's around Rags. And Rags kind of has to be, I'm too busy for you, Peaches. I've got to deal with keeping this little girl alive, and you want to go on these crazy adventures, So, and then I got to throw Frank in there. So there are a lot of fun characters in the Brew and Chew crew that are all kind of push and pull with each other. And now with Peanut and Kai, it's going to be, I think they kind of gel and finish off the Brew and Chew. So you've got Peanut and Kai, you've got Frank, you've got Cece and Rags, and that kind of makes a really kind of rounded off crew with so many different personalities that makes it a lot of fun. And you got Peaches, and Peaches is kind of like the de facto leader, even though Frank thinks he is. It's really Peaches who's the leader. So, but Frank is the voice of reason, and Frank is the one who's not afraid to call it the way it needs to be. And he's actually the only adult, even though he's a dragon. Frank is the only adult in the group, except that he's a dragon. So he has a lot of years of experience. He's also a very old mage. He's very powerful. So Frank is the buffer. When everything hits the fan, Frank is the one that has to kind of be there to make sure that they survive. And so that's why you saw, if you read Brew and Chew, you'll see what I mean about that. But Frank is one of the best characters. I have so much fun writing Frank because he's just, if I don't care was a character, it's Frank. Frank does not care. Frank doesn't care who you are. Frank doesn't care how strong you are. Frank doesn't care how powerful you think you are. Frank just doesn't care. And so when you come at Frank, Frank is like, bring it. I'll deal with all of you, any of you, all of you together. So what? It's like Frank just doesn't care. And so he's jaded, he's cynical, he's good. He has a really good heart. And his heart is in the right place. And he will sacrifice himself for those people he considers family. And so Frank is this weird kind of mix of he's dangerous, but he's loyal. And that's why he's Gray's really his sidekick in a way, because he understands what Gray's going through. He understands that Gray is a dying mage, and the only thing that keeps him alive is his blade. And he also understands that if he has to barbecue Gray into a pile of ash to prevent Gray from going crazy and killing everything, he would do it. He would hate it, but he would do it. Kitty, have a great weekend. It was nice having you here, and thank you so much for being here today. Yes, Wendy, questions are done. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for the questions. I always appreciate the questions. You guys don't understand how amazing the questions are, and they're an integral part of our shows, of our Kaffeeklatches, and it's really important to have them here. And they make our show special. And you guys, I want you to understand the concept of being able to ask an author questions. We didn't have that growing up. We could write them letters. We couldn't just type questions and send it to them and then have them answer it live. We didn't have that option growing up. I know I did, and I grew up a long time ago. But there were so many authors I wish I could have had a moment to ask them questions. They're gone now. But yeah, so this is why the questions are so important. And I always make a point of answering them. All right, let me go back. Another potential AWS and DNS problem. Oh, take care, Anthony. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't miss you, but if I did, have a great rest of your weekend. Let's see. I love Chris says I love Frank. Chris is having Frank. I love Frank is writing. Frank has me. I'm actually laughing when I write Frank. Wendy asks, are CC's trials on the horizon? Yes. My only question is, I'm going to have to bridge her trials between Cold Girl, which is the next Brew and Chew story, and the next M&S story, because Monty and Simon have to be part of it too. So it's going to be a double, it's going to be like in Cold Girl from Cece's point of view, and then in one of the M&S books from Monty and Simon's point of view, with Cece in there. Chris says, I totally love and laughed out loud reading Brew and Chew. Thank you. I really appreciate you. I'm glad you liked it. It was fun. It was short, but it was so much fun. It's angst puppy love. It is. It's real puppy love, Wendy. This is like actual puppy love. Chris says, it was also nice seeing us. Yeah, Frank is he's a softie at heart, but he has to be tough because he's also trapped in the dragon's body. Dragon, he's a lizard, but it's a dragon. Yeah, the thing that Frank has gotten up to, it's surprising Frank is still alive too. Oh no, yeah, quick shout out, happy birthday to Heather. It's her birthday today, I believe. So happy birthday, Heather. Mary Beth, thank you for being here. Thank you for dropping in and saying hello. Have a great, fantastic weekend, Mary Beth. It's great. You guys, I appreciate all of you for being here and making time out of your day to just hang out with us and talk and, shoot the breeze, as they say. That's what we do here today. We talk about a little bit about everything. And that's what makes, you don't have to say anything. You just hang out and read and chill out, or you can participate, and that's also good. So yeah, it's very much like the MoB. And speaking of the mob, I kind of like Chris reminded me I have to kind of put up a new greeting because we have a lot of people coming into the mob, and we kind of get lost because the mob at this point, how would I describe it? It's almost like a self-contained universe at this point. So if you just walk into the mob, you might be a little like, huh, what is this place? And why are Mondays thank you, and Tuesdays we're talking about time travel, and Wednesdays is silliness day, and Thursday we're discussing art, and Fridays about fucking films, and so it seems like every day has a theme, and you don't know what to bring up, what to discuss, and should I talk about the books in here? Is it allowed? And so I'm gonna kind of address that because Amy Sprouse had some questions, but she was scared of she was trying to be cautious about spoiling stuff. I don't know if you can really spoil things in the mob. You guys read at a pace that's unheard of. Like the book will be out, and you guys will read so fast. I'm like, I can't write as fast as you guys read. It's insane. Yeah, the chat was where it was at. That chat was flying today. I didn't. I could barely click on things. It was just going up so fast. Crazy. So getting back to the mob, and listen, guys, don't feel reluctant. I know a lot of us lurk. I lurked for the longest time. Um, don't feel reluctant to come in, to chip in and start comments or start conversations. Just adhere to the what we do in the room. We try to make it sure it's safe for everyone. We don't discuss politics. We don't discuss religion. We don't discuss gender identity. Not because we can't, because we can go on rants on all three of those topics and more. But that's but we don't do it because it's not the place for it. We want to create a safe space where everyone can feel safe being and welcoming. In that case, it doesn't matter your politics, it doesn't matter your gender identity, it doesn't matter your religion. When you come to the mob, you're welcome. Just make sure that you make everyone else feel welcome. And that's cool. That's the way it is. Wendy, have a great weekend. Thank you for being here. Thank you for dropping in. Because we're a different group than what new folks are. Yeah, I think that's what it is. There's a little bit of a weird shock when people see our group because it's like it's weird. Yeah, it turned itself on again. Paige, the Meta AI bot, kind of they want to take over, but Chris caught it. But I think Dolly had to turn hers off, and I haven't been there yet. But I know they're trying to activate it again, and we don't need a Meta AI bot. And yes, let me tell you, if you want an honest group of readers, if you're a writer and you want an honest group of readers, and I've had writers do this, authors, the mob is a very, very honest, like when they do the art, which is the advanced reader team, when they read stuff for me, they're very honest. Like the notes that I get from the readers in the mob, very honest. And I get notes. Sometimes I go, oh my God, that just means more work. And then I realize, wait, this is a good problem to have. So, but honest, yes, very honest. And you want honest beta readers. You want honest readers in general. Like anyone reading your story, you want them to be honest, even if it means like they have access to me, so the mob can come and tell me, what did you mean by this, this, and this, and why is this happening? And why would and but I welcome that because it's not a matter of trying to change the story. It's I read your story, and this is what I think about the story that you presented, and what did you mean by X? And so it's not so much trying to change the story, but here's my opinion on what you wrote. And you want that kind of honesty because it informs your future stories. It informs the story that you have, you've written presently, but it really does inform all your stories and informs you and helps you grow as an author. Heather, thank you so much for being here. Heather, have a great birthday too. And you guys, again, have a fantastic weekend. We're not done yet, but we almost are. We're a few minutes away from closing up for today. So I'll give you an example of why you want honest readers. I had in book 3, Blood is Thicker, I killed Peaches. I know I've told the story many, many times, but I killed Peaches. I had Peaches die in that book. And I nearly had a riot at my house, pitchforks, torches. People were gonna come find me for killing Peaches. And you don't kill the dog. That's why. I saw this. So to build on that, right? I saw a recent special called Wick is Pain. I'm a big John Wick fan. I love John Wick. But when they made the first movie, they were gonna get shut down because if you haven't seen John Wick, I apologize, I'm spoiling something for you. But when they made John Wick, the first movie, the producers, the people who were backing the movie, were gonna shut it down because the dog gets killed. So no one's gonna watch this movie. They're gonna see this scene, they're gonna leave. They're gonna leave the theater. They're not gonna watch past the scene. That's how big a deal killing the dog in a story is. Yeah, I think it makes you a better author. You don't want readers who are just going to cater to, oh, everything you write is amazing and glorious, and you are uh, the greatest thing to authors since forever. Yeah. So when they took a poll, this is the fun. This is what actually made me laugh. When they took a poll of the audience in John Wick in the first movie, they polled the men about the killing of the dog, right? And they said 63% of the men said keep it in, and it makes the story better. 98% of the women said kill them all. I was like, whoa, because understand that the dog was a gift from the wife. So what happened was the women related to John reacting that way because it was the last gift given to him from his wife. And so he reacted that way because it wasn't just the dog that he loved, it was a connection to his wife. So the women, when they took that poll, they said, kill them all. And it was like, whoa, because women can be dangerous that way. And it would have been the riot that spanned the world. Yeah, John Wick is no joke. And when you think about this first story, which is just dog gets killed, man goes on rampage, but now you know why. Now you know why. You see a little bit behind the scenes in that. It's not just dog gets killed, man goes on a rampage. Dog gets killed was last gift from recently dead wife to an assassin of epic proportions who now goes on a rampage. So yes. All right, guys, we're about done. Oh my God, it's time. Sid, I'm gonna have to have a conversation with Sid. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Our next Kaffeeklatsch is the 21st of November, so just right around Thanksgiving for those of you in the US. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for submitting questions, you guys. I appreciate every question you submit. Trust me, I read them on the day of because I want it to be a fresh answer. But I thank you so much for submitting the questions because they do help us. And thank all of you who are Patreon members. Thank you for being part of our Patreon. You guys are incredible. And you go above and beyond. I really, really, really appreciate it. And thanks for being in our Kaffeeklatsch. This is episode 156. Think about what that means in terms of time. These things are done every 2 weeks. So we've been doing this 4 years now. Years. How many years, Chris? 7 years? Have we done this for 7 years now? We're gonna do something for our 10-year anniversary. I don't know what. Maybe I'll go to the Empire State Building and do it from on top of the Empire State Building and show you guys all around the city. That'd be fun. It was a fantastic show. Each and every day, even when we have technical difficulties, you guys stick with us. You're patient. You're there, and I appreciate it each time because we've had a few technical difficulties, but things are getting better. And thank you so much for being here. You guys are incredible. Have a great weekend. So the 3 B's: be kind because it doesn't cost anything to be kind. Okay, it's important. And your kind words might be just the words someone needs to hear in that day or in that moment. So please do your best to be kind. It elevates you and it doesn't cost you anything. Okay, be unstoppable because no one can stop you except you. So be unstoppable. Don't let anyone or anything stop you. And be uncommon